This video is designed as a supplement to the instruction brochure included with your Child Checkmate system. This program has been designed to demonstrate every step of the installation process. Child Checkmate is an electronic alarm that reminds bus drivers to walk to the back of the bus at the end of each day. Because drivers must turn off the alarm at the end of their route, it helps remind them to check and make sure there are not any children or personal items left on their bus. The idea for the Child Checkmate system came from concerned bus drivers. It was designed by a bus mechanic with you in mind. The installation process is quick and easy. It generally takes about 20 minutes to install a complete system. And you won't have to fish for any wires. But that's not the only advantage. In addition, there is no ongoing maintenance. Once it's installed, that's it. The system will probably outlive the bus. And it won't interfere with your regular maintenance. Because of where it's located, it doesn't get in the way of other repairs that need to be made. Finally, it doesn't get in your way when you're simply moving the bus around. The design uses the signal from the red overhead lights to activate the system. Let's get started by becoming familiar with all of the system components. The system includes 4 pieces: a master alarm unit, a wiring harness, a rear vehicle transmitter, and for some installations, a conduit kit. A test unit is also available. The master alarm unit fits inside the electrical panel at the front of the bus. The rear vehicle transmitter is available in 2 configurations. The first configuration is wired directly into the rear door interlock housing of the emergency door handle. The second consists of a reset button wired directly to the rear door buzzer. It's mounted above the last seat on the driver's side. In rear engine models, the unit is mounted on the driver's side as close to the rear seat as possible and is connected to the furthest rear buzzer. Now that you've seen the parts that make up the Child Checkmate system, let's go through the installation procedure and see how simple it is. Before we get started, let me just say this. Because you'll be doing most of your work with the wiring harness, you need to decide where you're going to put the master alarm unit so you can make all of the wires long enough to reach it. To install the Child Checkmate, you will need pliers, a Phillips screwdriver, eyelets, a 12-volt test light, and butt connectors. First, take the black wire ground from the harness, strip it back about 5/16 of an inch, and twist it. Insert the wire into the eyelet and squeeze it with pliers. Take your Phillips screwdriver or a wrench and attach the wire to ground on the frame. You have now finished with the black wire. Next, use a 12-volt test light to check for power coming from the battery. Before you do this, make sure the engine is off. Then, strip and twist the red wire from the harness. Take the pliers and crimp another eyelet onto the wire like this. Connect the red wire to the positive terminal on the battery. Place the washer underneath it and tighten it up. The battery connection is now complete. Next, turn your ignition on and use your test light to check for power coming from the ignition. Take the yellow wire from the harness, strip it, and twist it. Again, we're going to squeeze an eyelet onto the wire and attach the yellow wire to the 12-volt ignition. You are now finished with the yellow wire. Next, check the wire for the overhead lights by testing it with the ignition on. Turn on your overhead lights and check to see that your test light lights up. Be sure to stand clear of the stop sign when you do this. Connect the brown wire to the red overhead lights, the flashers, making sure not to accidentally connect to the master switch. Pull the wire off and add a clip. Piggyback the brown wire onto it so it becomes one connection. Attach the brown wire to the cloning clip. You are now finished with the brown wire. All front buzzers have 2 wires, one that gives it power and one that's the ground. Locate the buzzer and find the wire running to the rear of the bus. To do this, simply turn the key to the on position, but don't start the bus. Take your test light and touch one side of the terminal or wire. If it lights up, you have the positive side of the buzzer. If the buzzer sounds, you have located the ground side, which is the wire that runs to the rear of the bus. Connect the blue wire to the wire running to the rear of the bus. Place a plastic tie around the two to prevent strain. Now you have finished with the blue wire. Now let's locate the ground wire that runs from the steering column to the horn relay. This can easily be found at the bottom of the steering column. Test to be sure it is the ground wire for the horn. Simply connect the test light to a good ground and probe the wire. The horn should sound. Splice and run an 18-gauge wire from the horn relay ground wire through the front panel to the main electrical panel. Connect the green wire of the master alarm unit to the ground wire from the steering column. Before connecting to the master alarm unit, it's a good idea to double check to be sure this is the horn relay ground. Be sure to leave some extra wire when you make the connection. Keep the wires neat and together by attaching a plastic tie. If you have a Child Checkmate test unit, plug it in to make sure all of the connections are properly made, like this. The LED will light up corresponding to each function. To install the master alarm unit, mount it in the main electrical panel with either double-sided tape or screws. Insert the wiring harness into the master alarm unit. You are now finished with the MAU portion of the installation. There are two different rear vehicle transmitter installations, either inside the emergency door handle or installing a reset button. Before you do anything else, locate the 4-wire rear vehicle transmitter inside the interlock box. If that's not possible, the transmitter will have to be mounted on the outside of the box, which means you'll have to drill a small access hole. To install the transmitter inside the emergency door handle, first check to make sure that the rear door warning buzzer at the front of the bus is working. To do this, take your test light and find the wire that connects to the driver's front warning buzzer. Next, use a 12-volt test light to check for power to the 12-volt side of the buzzer. Connect the red wire from the rear vehicle transmitter to the 12-volt side of the buzzer. Disconnect the wire that connects to the driver's front warning buzzer. Then reconnect it to the yellow wire from the rear vehicle transmitter. Connect the brown wire to the place where you disconnected the front warning buzzer wire. Finally, connect the black wire from the rear vehicle transmitter to the chassis ground. It's really that simple. To install a reset button with a conduit, you'll need a chop saw and goggles, an air drill, and a file. Locate the spot above the last seat on the driver's side where you want to place your reset button. Making sure the reset button is straight, insert the top screw. Remember to put the star washer under the top screw to be sure it's grounded. Measure the conduit to make sure it is long enough to reach inside the reset button and down inside the interlock box at least 1/2 inch. Cut the conduit to length. File off the burrs inside the conduit. Using a small bit, drill a starter hole in the box. Then, using a bigger drill bit, make the hole big enough so the conduit can easily fit inside. Cut out the part of the interlock box above the hole for the conduit. File to remove burrs. To ensure a proper fit, temporarily install the interlock box. Fit the conduit inside the interlock box and make adjustments as necessary. Fish 2 wires down through the conduit. Remove the interlock box cover. Drill 2 holes at the bottom of the rear vehicle transmitter. Mount the rear vehicle transmitter with Phillips number 6 screws. Place an appropriate number of plastic P-clamps over the conduit and screw it into place. Remove the interlock box cover. Turn on the ignition. With your test light, check for the 12-volt positive wire. Connect the red wire from the conduit to the positive wire of the buzzer. Wrap a plastic tie around the wires. With your test light, find the wire that runs to the front of the bus. Connect the yellow wire to this wire and wrap a plastic tie around the wires. Finally, reinstall the box, making sure to clean the conduit and surrounding area thoroughly with an all-purpose cleaner. Now that you have finished your installation, you need to conduct a walkthrough of the system to make sure that everything is working properly. Included with your installation instruction brochure is an operation checklist. Please refer to this checklist and follow each step carefully in order to confirm a successful installation. Once everything has been checked and is working properly, the only thing left is to apply stickers to the inside front of the vehicle. Thank you for your attention to this installation video. Child Checkmate will continue to help ensure the safety of our children for years to come.